This is the Business Owners IT Podcast with Anthony Gerasch and Ryan Carter, where tomorrow's technology meets today's conversations.
I am Tony Gerasch.
And I'm Ryan Carter, and this is the Business Owners IT Podcast.
A podcast where we discuss tips, tricks, and solutions for business owners involving all things tech.
You know what? So we recently had a client get an attack. So, usually I say let's dive right in to the weekly review, but let's talk a little bit about this attack, Tony.
Yes. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about the customer, right, without actually, saying who they are. So the customer's on a time and material basis, right? And, they don't want to call us because we're going to charge them, right? So they tried to avoid to call us. So this customer, who's, a very smart person, decided to just go to Google and search for HP support. And since Ryan runs the service desk and he's in charge of the operations, he could tell you all about what happened after she searched HP support.
I know, but something about this, it just reminds me of something. Nothing bad happened because I figured it out right away. So the first one was I was actually helping a client with their personal Mac computer, and I needed to call Apple support for it. And I just pulled my phone out and Googled Apple support. Right away, I took the first number and called it. The gentleman picked up like in 2 rings, and I'm just like, "Wow, Apple, you got your game on." So, so I started talking to him, and he started asking odd questions. So my first red flag was the quick pickup. The second one is he goes, "What browser did I use to find the Apple support number?" And I was like, "That's odd." Yeah. So then I start looking at my phone and looking, and then all of a sudden I just go, "This has got to be social engineering." So I just hung up on the guy. So I never gave him any information or anything like that. But so anyway, sorry, I just kind of got lost there for a second. Anyway, so this client, they searched HP support, and of course, you get a support number that pops right up, right? And you call that number, and someone's going to pick up and help you right away. So they called, and I'm not going to do the voice, but the person answered, and they got on their computer, or they said, "Oh yeah, I'll be able to help you out with that right away." So they get on their computer, and as they're on the computer, they pull up like the event viewer or performance monitor, something like that. Event viewer, that's what it was, and found all the errors. Trust me, people, there's errors all the time in your event viewer. So it doesn't matter. You turn your computer on, there's errors. But anyway, so they get in there and look at the event viewer, and it's like, "You have a Trojan on this computer." And at that moment, she's like, "Oh no, what can I do? Let me help you with some software." So he pushed some software to her computer, and she opened it. Luckily, they had a product called Huntress on their computer, and right away Huntress noticed that this was some type of ransomware, and it just shut that computer down, isolated it from the network. User had no idea what's going on. She probably thought the attacker was after her. She hung up and probably sat in silence for a little while. And we get the alert right away, and it just happened to be at like 12:30 when most of our service desk is either on lunch or out doing something. So I just took it right away, and I called. And I called the user. I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" And they're like, they just gave me that story.
Yeah.
The same story. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, she's calling HP to, she's calling HP to get help with the printer. That's what she searched for. And, what happened, right? So, luckily, because, we have our security stack on there with the Huntress EDR, it didn't affect them. It would have cost them thousands of dollars if it had everything been encrypted, right? Or, if malware spread across all the computers that were in the office, it would have cost them a lot of money, right? But, here, probably just cost them an hour, to clean up what was done. But the moral of the story is that, you can't search Google or trust, that you're going to the right spot unless you're very, 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 tech savvy. You have to make sure that you know what the domain name is, because it's not an HP domain. It's just somebody that has a website out there, and you search for the right keywords, and they showed up organically, and they clicked on it because they thought it was, they clicked or called because they thought it was the real thing. And it happens to Microsoft too, right?
Yeah, You can pay to have your domain at the top of Google. It costs money, but it happens, and then they make more money on these ransoms than they do.
Yeah, but a lot of the ransoms a lot of the things are organic searches, right? There are searches out there. There's a Microsoft one too. Like, you search for Microsoft support, you go really quick, you look at it, you think you got Microsoft support, and it's not Microsoft support. It's some call center overseas.
Yeah, there might be an Apple one. I don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, that's just a prime example, right? Of a user trying to save some money, right? By not having to call tech support because she doesn't have a support plan, right? And then it turns out she ends up having to call us anyways, or we end up calling her and say, hey, you got this problem. We end up fixing it. We end up charging it. And then in the end, did we even fix the printer?
You know what? I got off the phone with her. I think she was done. I think she wiped the sweat off her brow.
Yes, I guess she didn't care about the printer anymore. I don't even know if we fixed the printer.
I think a ticket was created for the printer, so I'd have to go.
And we probably fixed the printer.
Yeah.
But, it's yeah. I mean, you can't trust your Google searches and you can't trust your Bing searches. I mean, you need to go directly to websites and not search.
Yeah, and Tony brought it up. I mean, this client was a time and material, so they're just paying us for every phone call they make. We don't have many of those left. Mm-hmm. We do a lot of managed clients, which means like your remote support is unlimited. So the phone call to us to get your HP printer working would have just been super easy at that point. You don't have to worry about your bottom line. So those are things to think about when you're looking for an IT provider like Unique Computing Solutions.
Yeah. I mean, any IT provider. I mean, if you're on a time and material basis with your IT provider, you should ask them if they provide a service plan where you can have all you can eat, unlimited remote support, unlimited on-site support, or if they have any kind of plans that are out there to help you so you don't feel like you're getting nickeled and dimed every time you call.
Yeah, exactly. I just kind of built a house, and there's two different kind of contractors. There's the one that just tells you up front, this is what's going to cost to do the whole thing. And I like those because I'm used to doing the managed services thing. But there's other ones that are like, yeah, I just bill you by hour. So you know how it is with the build by hour ones? I'm sitting behind them, watching them work, making sure they're getting their job done so that I don't get ripped off. But the other ones, I just let them work and do their job, knowing darn well that they're going to get it done.
Right.
So it's just two different ways of doing it.
Yeah, and the whole purpose of having a service plan is that the risk is on us, on the owners of the IT firm, right? If it takes 6 hours to fix, well, it takes 6 hours to fix, right? But if and if it's our fault because it took 6 hours to fix, we have to eat that. But when you're on a time and material basis and you send somebody out and you have an ongoing problem and it keeps going and going and going, and they don't want to pay for that time because they don't feel that maybe we didn't send the best body.
Yeah.
Or maybe that Ryan could do it faster, or maybe that somebody else could have did it faster. They don't want to pay for that time, but in fact, he still traveled there. He still got it on your computer. He did fix the problem. It took a little bit longer, but that might be the only person available by the IT company right now to do the work.
Yeah. Yep. Or they just kept troubleshooting to try to fix the problem to when they found out the computer's just bad and time for a new one. There can take a lot of time in that sometimes.
Yeah. So we kind of got off topic here, but the whole purpose of this podcast is to say, be careful when you're searching. And last but not least, do never let anybody on your computer that you don't know. I don't care who it is. If you don't know them, don't let them on your computer because they're not there to do something good.
No, not at all. They're never there for anything good. They're there to make themselves $1.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the... Sorry, I screwed that one up.
Wait, my turn. Thank you for tuning in to the Business Owners IT Podcast, where we'll see you next week.
Oh, another blooper.
Thanks,
guys.
Yep, see ya. Tables.
Unique Computing Solutions. Your IT challenges solved.